This is the UFO Sightings Iceberg. In this video, I'll share and break down the most famous, reputable UFO sightings. I'll leave it up to you to decide their validity, but for now, let's begin. Kaikoura Lights. On December 21st, 1978 in New Zealand, a Safe Air limited cargo plane crew observed huge blocks of light around their aircraft. It tracked along their aircraft for several minutes before disappearing and then reappearing elsewhere. The UFO was very large and had 5 white flashing lights that were visible on the craft. These objects appeared on the air traffic controller radar in Wellington and also on the aircraft's onboard radar. On the 30th of December in 1978, a television crew from Australia recorded unidentified lights. One object followed the aircraft until landing. When the aircraft reached about 2,000 feet, it encountered what appeared to be a large, lighted orb, which fell into station off the wingtip and tracked along the cargo aircraft for almost a quarter of an hour. Since then, we've seen a number of additional sightings in the area, with the most recent sighting being in 2015. USS Nimitz UFO Incident. On November 14, 2004, in San Diego, the USS Princeton, part of the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group, noted an unknown aircraft on radar 100 miles off the coast of San Diego. For 2 weeks, the crew searched for an object until one day, when 2 fighter jets arrived in the area, they saw an oval-shaped object appearing in the water. Black Aces Commander David Fravor and Lieutenant Commander Jim Slate of Strike Fighter Squadron 41 attempted to intercept the aircraft, but it disappeared and reappeared on radar 60 miles away, and more than twice the speed of the fighter jets. Mexican Airforce UFO. On March 5, 2004, a Mexican Air Force pilot, Major Magdaleno Castanon, was conducting a routine anti-drug trafficking vigilance with other pilots when they filmed something unusual. 11 unidentified bright flying objects in the skies were moving rapidly. The pilots were using infrared equipment when 3 objects showed up on the plane's radar at an altitude of 11,500 feet. Magdaleno said that they chased the lights, but it felt like the objects knew they were being followed, and just as he thought that, they disappeared out of the air. STS-48. On September 12, 1991, the STS-48 planned to deploy a satellite from the Space Shuttle Discovery. This footage was captured where the video shows objects zooming by and bright lights flashing on Earth's orbit. In 1996, a footage of STS-75 showed the same kind of objects buzzing around during the drifting satellite. The truth was never revealed, and after years, it still remains a secret. O'Hare International Airport Saucer.
O'Hare Tower, this is Dave.
Hey Dave, it's Sid from United Tower.
Hey, Sid.
Hey, did you see a flying disc out by C-17?
Oh, it didn't even start, Sue.
No,
You're seeing flying discs.
well, that's what the pilot and the ramp guys are telling us. The C-17, they saw some flying disc above, and we can't see
Come
above us.
on, Sue. I have not seen anything, Sue. And if I did, I wouldn't admit to it.
On November 7, 2006, Flight 446 was getting ready to fly to Carolina from Chicago's O'Hare International Airport when a United Airlines employee noticed a dark gray metallic craft hovering over gate C-17. 12 United employees and few witnesses outside the airport spotted the saucer-shaped craft around 4:15 p.m. The saucer hovered for about 5 minutes before disappearing in high velocity into the clouds. The National Aviation Reporting Center on Anomalous Phenomena published a 155-page report on the sighting and has called for government inquiry. On improved energy sensing technologies, anytime an airborne object can hover over several minutes over a busy airport but not be registered on radar or seen visually from the control tower constitutes a potential threat to flight safety. Delhi Airport. On 27 October 2015, Indira Gandhi International Airport in Delhi was put on high alert after an unidentified flying object was spotted at the airport. The air traffic controllers reported they saw suspicious flying objects flying over the airport that appeared thrice on that morning. The object appeared to look like a drone but quickly disappeared. Another flight pilot reported being distracted by a beam light when it was preparing to land. The pilot said that the object was 6 nautical miles away from the flight, and the Indian Air Force tried to track down the object by sending a chopper but could not find anything. bright blue.
Multiple witnesses report seeing a large blue object fall out of the sky and into the ocean.
On December 29, 2020, a 38-year-old woman, Mariah, saw a bright blue object as long as a telephone pole in the sky on western coast of Oahu. She began filming it, got into the car with her family, and followed the bright light for 3 miles before watching it vanish into the ocean. Mariah called 911. An officer arrived, but then another white light appeared in the sky that soon disappeared into the mountains. Later that night, multiple people reported seeing the glowing blue blob. This led the Federal Aviation Administration into investigating the site. No further reportings have been reported. On-flight footage.
Imagine finally being able to get onto a commercial flight, looking out your window, and seeing this.
In June 2021, a German tourist recorded a video of a shiny, shape-shifting object in the sky, fueling speculations and conspiracy theories. The altitude at which the object was flying was 10,000 to 30,000 feet. He filmed the shiny white object on his Nikon P900 camera and claimed that this suspected UFO was flying alongside them for 7 minutes. It appeared that the object was moving side by side directly with the plane, the tourist allegedly spotting the bizarre object out of his window while traveling on the plane. The video of the UFO on YouTube Video went viral with more than 56,000 views. Rendlesham Forest. Over a series of nights in December 1980, multiple people at the nearby Royal Air Force Woodridge Base in Suffolk saw a UFO. Reports said that the trees were damaged and it felt like something huge and heavy crashed onto these trees, and there was a kind of smell in the area. There was a high level of radiation in the area, so some speculate that a spacecraft was also parked in the forest late at night. The original landing site today is commemorated by a triangular spaceship statue. Levelland UFO Case. On the evening of November 2nd, 1957, 2 farm workers, Pedro Saucedo and Joe Salas, called the Levelland Police Department to report a UFO sighting. Saucedo told police officer A.J. Fowler that they had been driving for 4 miles west of Levelland when they saw a blue flash of light near the road. They claimed their truck's engine died, and a rocket-shaped object rose and approached the truck. Saucedo jumped out of the truck to save himself from the unknown.
I got out, got in front of the truck, looking to the object, It was a big, bright light. I mean, you can hardly stand it by looking at it. I hit the ground, Cause after it got almost top of the truck, that's when our truck started shaking, and a lot of, like a hard rumbling, And I got scared then, and just said, I wonder what the heck it is. We were just sitting up there with big eyes, man. Man, he was standing up there, hey, Joe, what's the matter with you? Wake up, man.
The blue flashlight passed directly over the truck with the sound of the wind, and when it moved away, the truck engine began to work. Another motorist, Jim Wheeler, reported a harsh light that looked to be about 200 feet long, 4 miles east of Levelland. His vehicle died, but as soon as the light passed, the vehicle restarted. That day, 10 vehicles stopped working within those 2 hours. Ufologists consider it one of the strongest cases of many eyewitnesses. Westall UFO.
A teacher who claimed to see UFOs hovering over a Melbourne school says military officials threatened to have him fired if he ever spoke about the incident.
On April 6, 1966, at approximately 11 a.m. in Australia, hundreds of students and a teacher from Westall High School saw an oval-shaped object hovering over the school during a morning break. When students and teachers gathered to see it closely, it suddenly disappeared behind the trees. Approximately 20 minutes later, the object reappeared, climbed at speed, and departed towards the northeast. Some of the eyewitnesses also said that there were multiple aircraft trying to engage the spaceship, but its speed was unbelievable and within seconds it disappeared. The Westall incident remains the most witnessed daylight sighting ever, and strangely the staff and children were asked not to talk about it in the media. The Belgian UFO Wave. The longest-lasting series of reported UFO sightings in Belgium began in November 1989 and ended the following April. Around 13,500 different people claimed to witness seeing large, triangular flying objects hovering low in the sky. In the spring of 1990, military fighter pilots investigated and pursued some of these unidentified objects, but they flew out of range before the pilots could observe anything further. It was written off as a harmless mystery and remains one of the largest alleged UFO sightings in history. Stephenville, Texas.
For days, people have been emailing and calling the newsroom saying they've seen a UFO.
On the evening of January 8, 2008, multiple witnesses in Stephenville, Texas, reported seeing inexplicable objects moving through the sky. Pilot Steve Allen estimated that the strobe lights spanned about a mile long and a half-mile wide, traveling at about 3,000 miles per hour. Citizens reported seeing white lights above Highway 67, first in a single horizontal arc and then in vertical parallel lines. After several weeks, the U.S. Air Force revealed that F-16s were flying in the Brownwood military operating areas just southwest of Stephenville. However, the witnesses disagreed with that because they believed what they saw was too technologically advanced for current human capabilities. Arequipa UFO Incident. On the early morning of April 11, 1980 at 7:15 in the south of the Peruvian Air Force, Lieutenant Oscar Alfonso Santa saw a silver-colored mysterious object with a bright light that was floating near the end of the runway. Huerta tried to follow it and shot a burst of 30mm shells that the object completely absorbed. The object shot skyward, forcing Huerta to activate the plane's afterburner to give chase. But then the object suddenly stopped. Huerta was running low on fuel and was forced to return to base, but before leaving he came close to and found out that the object was a UFO. Phoenix Lights.
Today marking 21 years since the Phoenix Lights first appeared in the sky. To this day, nobody really knows what they were or where they came from.
On March 13, 1997, at about 6:55 p.m., the Phoenix Lights were sighted over the U.S. states of Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico. Thousands of people saw strange objects and various lights in a space of about 300 miles away. A man saw a V-shaped object above Nevada, which had 6 lights on its leading edge. At 8:15 p.m., a police officer encountered reddish lights in the sky when he was driving north. The red lights were also seen in Prescott and Prescott Valley at 2017 by Devin Lawrence and Jamie Lawrence, who were standing on their porch. The National UFO Reporting Center received the report that the lights were observed in a V formation. The witnesses reported that after seeing these lights they experienced amnesia, whereas others shared that after the lights appeared and disappeared, they didn't say a word and went back to what they were doing. Aguadilla Airport Incident. In April of 2013 at the Rafael Hernandez Airport located in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, a video was recorded of an object swiftly flying over land and then seeming to submerge underwater. A U.S. Customs and Border Protection aircraft captured an infrared video of the episode that was supplied to the Scientific Coalition for Ufology by a whistleblower. The video shows the vessel traveling without lights, at some instances below treetop altitude, at speeds close to 100 miles an hour. The object submerged into the water multiple times and then split into two. The twin objects kept moving at the same velocity. According to the SCU website, the object exhibits characters that cannot be possibly explained by any known aircraft or natural phenomena. Japan Airlines Flight 1628. On November 17th of 1986, the Japanese crew of a JAL Boeing 747 were traveling from Paris to Narita International Airport with cargo of wine. At 17:11, they were flying over eastern Alaska at 565 miles an hour on an altitude of 35,000 feet when suddenly a dazzling light drew their attention.
At the helm, Captain Terauchi has nearly 30 years in the cockpit. At 6:19 p.m., the crew sees something on the radar. Unable to see another plane outside the window, they ask the control tower to identify it.
They witnessed 3 unidentified objects after sunset. The 2 bright objects had glowing nozzles and the rest of their body was invisible. When they came closer, the aircraft's cabin was lit up and the captain could feel their heat on his face. One of the 3 objects kept following their aircraft. The sightings lasted for 50 minutes and ended once the craft reached the vicinity of Denali. Tehran UFO Sightings. On the 19th of September 1976, two Imperial Iranian Air Force F-4 Phantom 11 jet interceptors reported that they saw a mysterious object and tried to approach it. The pilot, Lieutenant Yadi Naziri, reported losing instrumentation and communications as they were following the object. Another squadron commander, Major Parviz Jaffrey, acquired radar lock on an object at a range of 27 nautical miles, which was about the size of a Boeing KC-135. He said that the lights were so bright that he wasn't able to see its body. When he stopped following the object, his equipment started functioning normally, but then he saw the object coming towards him with the speed of a missile, and when he tried to retaliate, all the jet instruments stopped working once again. When leaving, Jaffrey saw another object coming out of the diamond-shaped object and headed toward the ground. It slowed down and landed gently on the ground, radiating a bright light. The next day, Jaffrey flew in a helicopter to look at where they thought the light hit the ground, but nothing was found, with occupants of nearby houses only reporting hearing a loud noise and a bright flash of light during the night. Flatwoods Monsters Spacecraft. It was September 12th, 1952, when a 10-foot huge extraterrestrial was discovered in Folklorist, West Virginia. It was claimed to have a spaceship that hovered above the ground. On the same day at 7 p.m., the craft was seen by three kids, the May brothers and their 10-year-old friend Tommy, who tracked it down and also found the monster. As soon as the kids saw the monster, they ran back to their homes. 7 Braxton County residents on Saturday reported seeing a 10-foot Frankenstein-like monster in the hills above Flatwood. After the incident, the group experienced nausea and smelled a pungent mist. Kenneth Arnold. On June 12, 1947, around 2:45 p.m., Kenneth Arnold, a businessman and a pilot, was flying from Chehalis to Yakima, Washington in Call Air A2 on a business trip when he saw a string of 9 shiny flying objects in Mount Rainier at what was an estimated speed of 1,200 miles an hour. The convex-shaped objects were about 25 miles away. After landing in Yakima, Arnold told everyone about the sightings, but no one seemed to believe it. When the news spread, many individuals came up to share the sightings of a disc-shaped craft in the sky on the same day. This was the first time when the term flying saucer was used. 143 military cases.
Well, the U.S. government has released an eagerly awaited report on unidentified flying objects. The federal government is unable to explain as many as 143 objects encountered by military aircraft.
The U.S. has recently disclosed over 140 unexplainable UFO sightings. Many of these have remained secret until only recently. We've only seen a handful of their videos that disclose their findings. They're also leaving much of the theories on the table as well. We're left to wonder exactly what they are. Perhaps more questionable is the military's decision to suddenly share these sightings with us. Jerusalem UFO.
There's a new video this morning that some say may be proof we're not alone in the universe. A UFO in the form of a bright light is seen descending over the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem.
We were fortunate to get multiple angles of this fascinating case. It appeared over the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem 10 years ago. This light slowly lowered over the dome in Jerusalem. The light hovered over the area for a short period of time, absolutely silent. Then the light shoots up at breakneck speeds. With multiple angles and the time it was created, this became increasingly hard to fake. I remember seeing this one years ago and being amazed by it. I still think it's a pretty fascinating sighting. But that's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. If you wish to support me, you can check out my Patreon to get some video shoutouts and early access to my content. And check out these videos here. Thanks for watching. Cheers.